Hey guys,
What's up, G?
wanna go to Chachki's? Get some coffee?
Oh, it's a little early.
I gotta get out of here. I think I'm gonna lose it.
Uh-oh. Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Hi, I'm Alicia Butler-Pierre, and the clip you just heard comes from the cult business movie classic Office Space. Although the movie came out in 1999, hearing that line about having a case of the Mondays still cracks me up. Let's be honest, Mondays are dreadful for many of us, but they don't have to be. And I wonder if that's part of the lure behind the workflow productivity tool, Monday.com. They've reclaimed what's for many of us the first workday of the week and transformed it into something to look forward to. Their technology is changing the game for so many small businesses through its project and task synchronization, tracking, and automation features. We're about to find out why having a case of the Mondays might be just the thing we need to streamline our operations. This is Season 14, Episode 174. Let's start the show.
Welcome to Business Infrastructure, the podcast about curing back office blues of fast-growing businesses. If you're a business owner or operator looking for practical tips and solutions to scaling your business in a sustainable manner, you're in the right place. Now here's your hostess, Alicia Butler-Pierre.
Having a tough time trying to explain ideas over a video conference? Try the Think Smart whiteboard. It's the fastest whiteboard software in the world and allows you to upload flowcharts and write on them while your colleagues are watching remotely. Call us today for a free demo. The number is 1-866-584-6804 or visit us online at getmytablet.com. Now that's smart. Think smart. Today's episode is brought to you by Equilibria Incorporated. Scale your fast-growing business with less pain by hiring the right people, implementing the right processes, and leveraging the right technologies. Learn more at eqbsystems.com. That's eqbsystems.com. All right, everybody, as you know, it's season 14 and our focus is on game-changing technology. And who better to school us in this area than Benjamin Shapiro? Ben is the founder and CEO of a brand development and marketing strategy consultancy, and he's also the host of two extremely popular podcasts, Martech, as well as Voices of Search. The Martech podcast is a show that tells the story of world-class marketers who use technology to generate growth and achieve business as well as career success. Ben is joining us from the San Francisco Bay Area in California, one of the most beautiful places on earth. Just my opinion. Ben, welcome to the show. I'm so glad we were able to finally make this interview happen. How are you?
Alicia, I'm thrilled to be here, and I couldn't agree with you more. San Francisco Bay Area, it's beautiful. As much as people complain about it, it's not a bad place to be.
It's not, but I must say the weather is different. I'll just say that.
If you like 84 and sunny, hey.
Well,
why
no,
fight it?
so here's the thing, just a real quick aside. So my sister lived there for a year. She was on Market Street. Isn't that like one of the main streets? Okay.
Yep.
So I have never been somewhere. This was like in May. And literally you're walking on one street, you're burning up, and then you turn a corner, walk down another street, and you're freezing cold.
Couple of fun facts about San Francisco. Sorry to interrupt you. Mark Twain has the famous quote,
Yes.
The coldest winter I ever spent was a summer in San Francisco, which is factually correct. And because of the fog belt, summer is actually the coldest season of the year. Now, it's a little windier and it's more wet in the winter, but technically the average temperature in the summer in San Francisco is colder than the rest of the year.
Wow. Yeah. So now that I've been there and I
Bring
know
layers.
better. Yes, exactly. Dress in layers. Exactly. But nonetheless, it is truly a beautiful place. So I'd like to share with everyone, Ben, how we met. We met unofficially, I would say. This is our first time actually having an opportunity to talk to each other, but we've met through the HubSpot podcast network because I believe our shows, Martech as well as this show, was part of the initial 6 shows.
Founding members. I think there were 7 of us.
Oh, really?
But I think that Entrepreneurs on Fire was like 3 of them because that show is so big and John does such a nice job that, you know, it's I count as a half, he gets 3.
But what's funny is I think you and I were already connected on LinkedIn before this network.
This conversation was just meant to be.
Yeah. So that's, you know, hey, it all kind of came full circle. Now, I'd love for you to talk to us a little bit more before we get into, you know, some of the different technologies. Obviously, you have a show all about technology, marketing technology, to be exact. Can you tell us a little bit more about the Martech podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the history of the Martech podcast, I was running an independent marketing consulting business. I focused on helping early and growth stage, primarily Silicon Valley VC-backed companies, figure out who they are from an identity perspective and how to cultivate marketing channels. And all of my business came from networking, right? I would download my LinkedIn contacts, find their email addresses if I didn't have them already, reach out to them and tell them the type of projects I was working on, and try to find business. And so everything I was doing was very much centered around email outreach and you know, using a CRM. We use a tool called Pipedrive. And after about 3 years of consulting, I kind of ran into the end of the rainbow. I just didn't have any new contacts to reach out to. So as an experiment, I started the Martech podcast, figuring that it would help me a couple different ways. One, the people who I wanted to have as my consulting customers, I could interview and offer them, you know, a speaking opportunity on a podcast that was industry specific and also, you know, relevant to the consulting services I was trying to sell. And 2, hopefully I would grow an audience because the people I wanted to have as my consulting customers generally had pretty big social followings that also were in the same area. The experiment totally failed. The podcast did much better than I ever would have expected. And because the audience was growing so quickly, I never really tried to do the lead generation business development angle for the Martech podcast. And so, you know, after a couple months, we had a couple thousand downloads. After a little less than a year, we were over 10,000 downloads a month. And so I kind of just kept my chips on the table, talking to great marketers, and we hit the iTunes top 200 within the first year for marketing shows. And then an interesting thing happened. We started, instead of having to reach out to guests, they started finding us because we were in the, you know, the podcast top 200. So guests started reaching out. And the next thing you know, I had, you know, these really sort of top tier marketers reaching out to be a guest on my podcast. And I decided to make it a media business instead of lead generation for my consulting practice. And now I've been doing it. We're actually about to hit our 1,000th episode. It's sometime this month.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, so couple of years of producing a daily show now.
Daily.
Yeah.
See, I couldn't tell by looking at, so I was actually at the Martech website.
Yep,
so I couldn't.
MartechPod.com. Hopefully,
yes.
I'm sure there's a lot of Martech websites.
No,
out there.
it was. You're right. It was definitely the website for your show. But I couldn't, because I was listening to several of the episodes. But I didn't have an appreciation for how many episodes. So I'm glad you pointed that out.
You know what I'm looking at? We actually we were going to do something special for our 1,000th episode, and now I'm realizing that today's episode is 1,002. So I guess the ship has sailed on this. Hey, everybody, we hit 1,000 episodes.
You can do it retroactively.
You know, I missed the 100th episode too. It's the problem when you pump out a lot of content in a short period of time. It moves quickly. The trick there, and this is great for content creators that are thinking about how to scale a content business. When I sit down for an interview, what we'll do is we'll record multiple episodes at once. So we found that, you know, we were starting to lose people's interest after 20, 25 minutes. And so I'll record for an hour with someone. We'll have a couple of ads, probably 5 minutes of ads total throughout the podcast. So I need to record 18 minutes of content. Well, I can get 3 episodes out of an hour. And so when we have our guests come on, we'll actually record 3 different topics and 3 different episodes. So I don't have to schedule meeting after meeting after meeting and do 5 interviews a week. I really only have to do 2, and then we republish old content that we feel like is evergreen on the weekends. So, we cheat a little bit, but
that's brilliant, because you never know when someone is going to tune in. So that's actually really, really smart. But as I was reviewing some of your information online, I noticed that you did go to Boston University. You have a degree in business administration, and it looks like your career started as in sales, as a sales trainer, and then eventually you worked in a management position at eBay. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, my first job out of college was glorified door-to-door sales. And I've positioned it on my resume to be sales training, but it really was like a multi-level marketing, like the worst first job you could imagine from a like credibility perspective. I was like getting thrown out of small businesses trying to sell phone service. But I learned a lot of really important life lessons, not only how to deal with rejection, but also, the basic principles of sales and persuasion and understanding what a bullet is and how to put a rebuttal together. So learning sales was a very important skill. It was a tough first job to have. I worked my way from that company into a marketing role at a sports marketing agency. I was living in Dallas, Texas. I'm a native Northern Californian, and I loved living in Texas, but there's only so much light beer and football I could watch. I was like super heavy, and it just wasn't the best lifestyle for me. So I needed to make some personal changes. And so I came back to Northern California, and it's where my family and kind of my network is, and worked my way into a relatively entry-level position at eBay doing account management, and spent about 7 years at eBay, going from an account manager on the internet marketing's business development team into managing strategic relationships for eBay, between eBay and some of the big portal and partnerships. So at the time it was like Yahoo and Facebook as they were coming around, and some other, Google as well, some other big partnerships for mostly fixed placements. So things that are on the internet that don't move. So if there was like a eBay module on the Yahoo homepage, I was managing some of those relationships.
I know. It was just starting to get good, right? Well, there's more where that came from. To listen to the full interview, be sure to click the link in the description box below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell so that you'll know when our next episode drops. Until then, keep operating smoothly.
Join us next week for another episode of Business Infrastructure with Alicia Butler-Pierre.